Okay, so in this video we'll be looking at the Zeva key migration tool that would allow you to push keys from specific sources into the key decrypt server, which is the opposite model than the default model that the Crypto-in-a-Box Enterprise works with, which is to automatically pull in keys from configured sources at the server. So the tool would allow you to push in keys, go to a specific key source, fetch in the keys, and then do some sort of pre-processing on them, and then push them to the key decrypt server. And so the tool does provide for this version of the tool, it does provide for a single destination to push keys to, which is the key decrypt server. But on later versions, we can add in any other kind of destinations that we wish to. Okay, so we run the tool. The tool does support running in three modes. The first mode is to run a completely new import operation that would allow you to select a source, which could be a CA, could be a BFX, and we can add any kind of source later on. You can fetch keys from the source and then push them to the destination, which, as we just mentioned, is the Crypto-in-a-Box key decrypt server. Okay, then it does allow you to continue or retry to push keys that have failed to be pushed to the key decrypt server in previous operations, and that's the second mode of the tool. Third mode, which is currently under testing, it's been recently developed, which would allow you to submit private key synchronization request to the backend server, which would in this case go to a configured in trust CA and try to fetch the user key history or users key histories and then import them into the key decrypt server. But for this demo, we'll just be trying the import operation, and so we click next. So on this page, the tool asks you to provide a file, an XML file that the tool is going to be saving logs to it that would actually allow you to use the XML file to retry for any failures. And it does also store in the configurations for the source, the destination, and any other settings that are necessary for you to retry and review the operation that you attempted to push keys to the server. Okay, so we select test.xml at the desktop, and then we click on next. Okay, now here currently the tool supports three types of sources for keys. Currently the Microsoft CA, Entrust CA, or you can just select a BFX file or files and just take the keys out of the files and push them into the key decrypt server. Again, in this demo, we're just going to be trying to get keys from Microsoft CA. And so choose Microsoft CA and click next. Here the tool gives you asks you to try to connect to the key decrypt server, and the tool is supposed to count authentication, Windows authentication, if the key migration tool is currently within the same domain as the key decrypt server, or you can use certificate authentication if the key decrypt server is outside of the domain in which the KMT tool is running. Okay, so since we're running on the same domain as the key decrypt server, we're just going to use Windows authentication, and we're specifying the fully qualified machine name for the key decrypt server. And typically the key decrypt server has a service called import service, which should be listening at port, I guess, 2060 or something, and the key migration tool will just infer the port and protocol and all the other information implicitly. So you just specify the fully qualified machine name and just hit connect. Okay, so the server responds back with policies under which you can push the push the keys from the Microsoft CA into the key decrypt server. Now the policies concept is irrelevant to our video. We can have a discussion on it in later videos. But for the moment, we're just gonna select the Microsoft rewrap policy. That's a policy that is compatible with the Microsoft CA source that we've just previously selected. And then we hit on next. Okay, now here's where the key migration tool asks you to try to connect to the Microsoft CA and select which filters you want to use to pull in or fetching keys from CA. So that's the address of the Microsoft CA within the domain. So I hit connect, and everything is successful. So it provides me of a list of filters that I can select from, or types of filters rather, that I can use to pull keys from the CA. And you can either use a specific OID or a template ID that is actually configured at the Microsoft CA. You can actually pull in keys for a specific key user or users based on emails. You can select a template or template names to get in the certificates or private keys under which that were issued under this template or templates. Or you can use the user principal name to search for certificates. Okay, so for our purpose, we're just going to select the user email, and you have the capability to load user DNs from a file that is new line separated, and just click on the load from file and just point to a text file. It's just going to load the emails for you. But in our case, we just have a user called Bob, which we do know his email, and which we will be using in as an email filter. Okay, so you can specify extra email, just make them new line separated, and then after you're done, just click on next. And here's the tool. So the tool is going to do a search step in against the Microsoft CA for all the certificates that have the list of emails as not all this. So it's going to get all the certificates that have any of the emails in their subject alternative name field. So here the tool would ask you for the metadata that you are interested to see in the search page. So for our purposes, we're just fine to seeing subject DN, email, template name, and whether the certificate has a corresponding private key or not. So we click on next, then click search, and so here we received a result that's saying that we have a user called Bob Blue, and that's the email, and this certificate that he has a corresponding private key that we might wish to push to the key decrypt server. So we're just selecting this one because that's the only result that we have. Under different filters, we might have more than a single result entry that we might wish to select of. So just hit next, and then you got the two options to either export the certificate only or just export the certificate with keys. So we're just going to choose to export the certificate keys, and here the tool is connecting to the key decrypt server and attempting to export the certificate for Bob and with its private key, and see it's succeeded, and export time was 3 milliseconds. So it's 30 milliseconds rather. So everything is fine. The tool gives you statistics of successful and failed keys or certificates, and eventually just hit next and finish the wizard. Okay, so if you go back to the desktop, you can see the XML file that the tool has generated that would contain all the settings, all that we have selected, and all the filters, and possibly if any errors have occurred, any entries from the search window that I failed to be pushed to the key decrypt server that you might wish to rerun the tool and use the retry mode to retry any failed results. And so this is just an overview demo of how the key migration tool works. We can actually adjust it as to add any kind of any destination, any key destination such as a BFX file, not just the key decrypt server. And it's just flexible enough. It's just an engine that takes from a key source, pushes to the destination, that we can just at any version add any kind of sort of destination that we would like. And so that's it for our demo. Thanks for watching.